Call this meeting to order. I need a motion to go into closed session. Counselor Armstrong, Counselor McHugh. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
For a couple of minutes.
We're here for a reason.
Just looking at you here.
Yeah, I gotta wait for O'Neill. O'Neill's gone for a break, I guess. That's what I would say. Right? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. We start this open session. We stand for the Indigenous Land Acknowledgement Statement, remain standing for the national anthem, and then we may be seated. Thank you.
We begin this meeting by acknowledging that Quinte West is on Indigenous land that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples from the beginning. We thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Long before today, there have been Indigenous peoples who have been the stewards of this place. In particular, we acknowledge the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte First Nation. This territory is covered by numerous treaties. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to this place. We also recognize the contribution of the Métis, Inuit, and other Indigenous peoples have made, both in shaping and strengthening this community in particular, and our province and country as a whole. This acknowledgement serves as recognition of the contributions and historical significance of Indigenous peoples across Turtle Island and demonstrates our collective commitment to meet the promises and address the challenges of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission within our community.
Thank you very much for being here this evening. We have an agenda which is going to take a little bit of time, but that's normal. Any comments from any councillors at this time? Councillor McHugh, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'd like to put an accommodation out there. Congratulations to Quinte Health Council, our committee. I just came back from Texas. I visited a couple of families down there. I heard some of their horror stories with regards to needing emergency surgery, et cetera, and it pretty well broke them. I came home. My wife was in on Friday. She had a knee replacement. Throughout the entire procedure that started months ago up until today, nobody so much as said, you owe us a nickel. And I have to admit that I think there were 6 or 7 procedures done the same day my wife was there. I couldn't ask for better care for my wife. She couldn't either. And there were 2 or 3 loyalist student nurses there as well. And literally they were going 90 miles an hour taking care of the needs of all the patients. So my hat's off to everybody involved with Quinte Healthcare. I think that's fantastic. And on another happy note, I'd like to call upon the chief to give a little talk. I'm sure he's going to do it later with regard to what happened with our tankers here a couple of weeks ago in Sydney. If you'd like to speak to that and explain what happened, sir, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McHugh, through the mayor. Yeah, we went through our tanker shuttle accreditation, so we're very pleased that the insurance rates for residents in Ward 2 and 3 will be very good, because we didn't have the rating in some areas of the Sydney ward. So we ended up with the commercial rating, which is one of the highest you can for a municipality. And this is for firefighting purposes, that we can shuttle water at a certain rate, and a lot of the insurance companies will give residents a discount for that.
Thank you. Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I see the Ontario government has awarded $18.3 million for Wellington for a new water plant. They've awarded money to Belleville in Hastings County. I'm asking that they look at Quinte West for money for us too, please.
I agree with you. I agree 100%. Yes. He was here on more occasions than you mentioned, but yeah.
Tell him to bring his checkbook, please.
Okay. I never sent any back. You're right. Anyone else? Councillor Sharp.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to stick with the healthcare theme a bit tonight. I just wanted to advise, for women who do not have a family doctor, the Belleville and Quinte Community Health Center is hosting Pap test clinics in Trenton, a clinic. They're also being held throughout the area. But the one in Trenton is October 23rd from 1 till 7 p.m. at 69 Catherine Street. And the number is 613-965-0698. So if you need a Pap test and have no doctor, there is a clinic being offered, and that's very important. And I also wanted to note that Docs by the Bay is hosting an event to, it's called Medical School 101. And it's an introduction with doctors and others about if you want to become a doctor, the process. It's October 2nd at 6 p.m. And there's you can Zoom it in, but you must register in advance. And that's by our Docs by the Bay. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
What's that phone number again?
The Docs by the Bay, I don't have their phone number. Docs by the Bay hosting the Medical School 101 is you would go to their website, docsbythebay.com.
Okay.
I think it's .com. But the Belleville Quinte Community Health Center for the Pap test is 613-965-0698.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Councillor Card, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I just wanted to touch on, obviously we talk about quite often in the council the housing crisis that we're in, and certainly been a focus of this council this term. And I wanted to give a shout out to Director Jardine's staff for successfully getting the application in for the second round of the Housing Accelerator Fund. And I think it could be a wonderful opportunity for us. And I know that there was a needs assessment and some specific work. It wasn't just shining up the old application. Yeah, so I wanted to give some credit there, and any other groups that contributed work product to that. I know that the housing coordinator is doing great things for us, and the rest of his staff. So I just wanted to thank them for getting that in.
Director Jardine, you want to, we'll give you a chance to add to that. What are we applying for? How much money is available? And
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you to Council. The second round of the Accelerator Fund is, again, it's a national programme, so countrywide, through the federal government, administered by CMHC. $400 million is the total. If you remember, the first round was, I think it was $4 billion. We're now down to $400 million, but I think the interesting part of the second round is it's only eligible for municipalities that applied during the first round. and were unsuccessful. So it's effectively a smaller stream, so hopefully more chance of success there. As Councillor Card mentioned, it wasn't just a reapplication or resubmission of the previous application. We have had some feedback informations and sessions with CMHC staff. We've amended, tweaked, improved our application to better fit the requirements of the fund programme, and as was also mentioned, we put together, our staff put together a housing needs assessment, which is a data set that supports the initiatives, and we will be bringing that forward to Council in the near future and presenting that to Council. That will be of use to us, not just for this application, but for any other funding streams that we apply for, and that was a huge amount of data work and analysis done in a very, very short space of time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else? Anyone else? Any other? Okay, any disclosures of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Any? None. Declare that closed. I need an approval of the agenda. Councillor Armstrong, Councillor Ollier, all in favor? Thank you. And I need approval of the minutes, resolution minutes of the regular council meeting held on September 4th be approved, and further that the minutes of the closed session of council meeting held on September 4th be approved. Councillor Reid, moved by and seconded by. Need a seconder? Councillor Boyce, thank you very much. Any comments or questions? Okay, declare that closed then, okay. Now we're at public input. That's where you have a chance, I'm sorry. Sorry, got, yeah. Sorry, Dr. Stephen Khaled. Oh, what am I missing?
Public meetings. Yeah.
Oh, gee. Okay. Public meeting concerning surplus land being described as 30-32 Dundas Street West, Plan 726, Lot 2, in the city of Quinte West, the county of Hastings. That's, anybody here to talk or ask about that? Oh, okay, well, we'll keep going then.
Sorry, if I may, Mr. Mayor, I'm just going to go over the purpose of the meeting and where it was advertised.
Go ahead.
The purpose of the meeting is to declare the land surplus to the needs of the municipality so it can be disposed of in accordance with city policy. The notice was published in the Trentonian and the Community Press on August 29th and September 5th, and it was published on the city's news and notices page on August 29th.
Okay. Okay. All in favor? I need to, pardon? Oh, no, okay. Anything else? We're good. We've carried it and we've published it, and anything else you need on that?
If there's no one in attendance to speak to it, then we can close this and move to the next one.
Okay. Close to the next, okay. All right, the next one is, I'll let you talk on this one, Josh, please, Mr. Clerk.
Yeah, so this one is with respect to Stockdale Road Rule number 301-100-15200, Part Lot 3, Concession 6 in Township of Murray. The purpose of this meeting is to declare the land surplus to the needs of the municipality so that it can be disposed of in accordance with city policy. Notice was published in the Trentonian and Community Press on August 29th and September 5th, and it was published in the city's news and notices page on August 29th.
Thank you. Anyone here to speak or ask about this? Anyone? Okay, come on up. Come on up. Pardon?
Walter Twitty.
Come on up, Walter, to the mic.
Sure.
So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Walter Twitty. Born and raised in Murray Township. I live at 1894 Stockdale Road. Others who you've been around for a while, you'd know that as the Stockdale Sawmill. And I looked at Mr. Allier there and I didn't see Jim, I saw his father. And so anyway, say I was born and brought up and live in the house that's been in the Twitty family for 3 generations. My grandfather bought the sawmill and property in 1918, Walter. My father bought it from him after he got out of the armed services in about 47 after the Second World War, after volunteering in the RCAF. And then I bought it from Dad in the mid-'80s, something like that. So 3 generations of this property have been in the Twitty family. So about 2 weeks ago, my lovely wife and I were on a dream vacation, and we just happened to be on Cape Breton Island, and been there for 3 weeks. And we got a call from a neighbor here that's here to support us today, saying he saw in the paper a notice, which we have here, that looked like our property being advertised as surplus lands, notice a public meeting. So we cut our vacation short a week and came home to address this. So we've done due diligence in the short time that we've had. It took us the best part of 3 days to get back from there, pulling our trailer. And in these few days, we've done due diligence, the best we know how, and title search and things like this. And it's our opinion that this land has always been on our deed and on our tax bill, this description. We took our documentation to Josh as soon as we were home and showed him that it's on our deed and on our tax bill, and we just don't understand how this got to be a lot and got to be separate after we've owned it and paid the taxes on it, occupied it for 106 years. Josh helped to explain some things, and we provided additional documentation. And so we're, one of the pieces that we did find as my wife's a 35-year banker, so she's done hundreds of title searches for mortgages, so she's pretty good at this. We traced this back, of all things, near as we can figure, to 1869. Not 1969, 1869. We have the paper and...
The names of the people on this paper from 1869 are the names on the tax bill as owners of this property. And in 1869, the 2 men bought 100 acres in the Stockdale area and then turned them into lots over the next 10 or so years.
So as near as we can figure, this is some kind of a clerical error or a transposition error.
From impact, because the property in question is the middle of the creek, which was the mill pond.
Always
So nobody
was.
would separate a lot in the middle of a pond.
We certainly didn't, and so we're just here, and as I say, we provided our documentation to Josh and planning department. And are we accurate what we described to you?
Yeah.
And
And we've
so
got old maps from 1871, 78, that show that it was a mill pond
So,
on the documentation.
I have to say, for 106 years, the Twitties have owned, occupied, and paid the taxes on it to this day. If a neighbor hadn't seen this, because we don't subscribe to the Trentonian and whatever, we didn't still be in Cape Breton Island. Yeah.
Well,
So that's we're appealing to you that there's a clerical error here, something.
okay, well, all I can tell you tonight, Walter, is that we'll certainly take your information under advisement by council, and Josh will work with you to
Further,
do what's necessary to,
he's been very helpful, so we compliment him. And the
Yeah.
other lad's name was
Ryan in the tax
was very
department.
helpful, and we appreciate it. But we've just been in shock that this could be the way it is, and we think it's been a clerical error, and easy to resolve. And,
Well, let's hope you're right.
well,
Some of these
we've
clerical,
got logs on it,
some of these clerical errors are not easy to, but we'll do our best to work with you and get it done.
Yeah,
Okay.
we haven't had like a legal read on it. We haven't had
No.
time to complete anything like
No,
that. Because Josh is pretty thorough, right? He knows what
Yeah, I
he's
pulled
doing.
the historical documents off of onland.ca.
Okay.
So there's a clear path of showing the land and how it got transferred and bought and sold.
Well, there was one other guy that owned some land on the north side of the pond for a good,
Well, yeah, you're related to him.
for a good many years, right?
Yeah, but he never owned this.
No, I didn't
No,
say,
no,
I didn't say
I
that.
know.
There are only two people that I've ever known
Yeah.
that owned it, and you're the south and he's the north.
That's right.
We've asked,
Yeah,
like a lot of people, I'm 70, almost 71 years old, and, you know, we've never heard tell of this, and I've asked other neighbors, you ever heard tell of this? No, no, no. And like Donald Walt,
yeah, Donald would know.
Donald would know, we
That's
grew
right.
up together, he's just
Yeah.
a couple of years, unfortunately, he couldn't be here because he's had an eye appointment in Kingston, but, his grandfather, Ina, worked for my grandfather, Walter, in the mill.
Yeah.
His father, Elwood, worked for my dad in the mill for like 27 years. Donald and his brother, John, worked for me in the mill.
Yeah.
And the Twitties always owned this,
Yeah.
the dam and the mill pond and everything, and they swam and skated, and we saw their logs. And
And surprising as it is, when Donald drove truck, and he can still tell you what size bridge was on what road and what state and so on. He can take you through every,
He
yeah,
was at our place before 6 o'clock this morning, 'cause he comes in almost every day
yeah,
to visit, and we think the world of Donald, and so
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
he had,
Yeah.
his eyes are fading on him, so he was at an eye appointment. And,
okay.
I mean, Lyle Williams, he's fading, like, I think Lyle's 87, but a neighbor, and
Yeah.
we didn't get to him yet. And
All right, well, thank you very much. We'll do our, Josh will work with you, I know he will, get this resolved.
Okay, well,
Thank
we sure appreciate it. And by the way, I took your advice, I bought a generator.
Good boy. I agree with you. I agree with you. Unfortunately, that's the way it is.
I took your advice.
Well, okay,
From Donald, from Donald Wall.
yeah, no doubt you did.
Obligations.
Okay, so Dr. Stephen and Mrs. Callan, are you talking to us tonight?
I don't think I have to.
Well, you're welcome. We've got you on the agenda. If there's anything you want to, if you're good, we're good.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Yes, you can leave
It's
it.
a dollar to get out, free to come in. Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you for coming. Thank you very much. No, you're good?
Well,
If you do, you got to come up to the mic because you're on television. You gotta,
State your name again, please.
I'm Jean Calladine. I just want to make sure that I guess there have been some changes that were proposed to an existing policy or incentive by Quinte West for existing doctors to take on some extra patients. And they changed the wording so that those patients would not have to come from Healthcare Connect, but in fact, they could be transitioned from existing doctors who are retiring or leaving, which will really help us time-wise. I mean, it's just, would be a complete waste of time if we had to put them onto Healthcare Connect and then reabsorb them. It'd be better for the patients as well. I just want to make sure there's a little bit of room for abuse. So I think that it would be beneficial for council to include that anybody that is receiving incentive money from Quinte West not be eligible for this other incentive until their first incentive expires.
thank you. I'll ask CAO Clazy to clarify anything that,
Just to make sure, because I think we could see a situation.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yes, that's the intent that we would, it wasn't specific in the report, but yes, that's our intent to include that clause in that agreement. So if we have a doctor that is currently receiving the $100,000 incentive, they would not be eligible for this program while they're on it. Once they're done that 5-year commitment, then they would be eligible. And I believe that's what Mrs. Callahan was speaking about.
okay. Councillor O'Neill.
I have a question for that. Should I wait till you actually present it? Or would you like the question now?
That's fine, go ahead. Go ahead.
With this new incentive, if the doctor is in Quinte West and practicing in Brighton, and both municipalities offer a similar incentive, is there somewhere that they can't double dip? So they can't get the incentive from Quinte West and Brighton? Or should that be added to it?
I think that, David, you go ahead then.
Yes, the intent would be not to double dip, so we can make sure that there is a clause that speaks to that. So the intent tonight is for council, when we get to it, is just to, I'm gonna say, endorse the parameters of the changes, and then that will come back with a bylaw for the reapproval, so we can include that clause in there as well.
Yes, and you were mentioning that, and you were going to talk to Brighton about it, so,
And yes, I have spoken to Brighton.
okay.
They will be taking something to their council similar to us. I'm not sure the date of their council meeting.
Okay, is that okay? Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming and clarifying that for us. Okay, public input. Anyone else here for public input? Come on up. Anyone else? Anyone? Okay, we'll keep going then. Okay, we're under staff reports. That's staff report QW 2024-00157 by David Clazy, Chief Administrative Officer, regarding information update regarding council approvals be received. Okay. Do you need a mover and a seconder to receive it? Councillor Elliott, you move, a seconder by Councillor McHugh. Comments or questions? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, next is,
No, Councillor Sharp.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay, I know it's hard when I'm zooming. I just want to make sure I'm speaking to the correct report. Information update regarding council approvals.
Yes.
Yes, through to Mr. Clazy. I was happy to see that the dialogue with the development community has been, positive, good dialogue was extended, and now we're going to a future date. Do we anticipate a lot of change, or is it mostly dealing with percentages in the capital program? I see it was very positive dialogue, but it looks like there's further dialogue going on. So will there be a lot of change to what we saw a month ago?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you to Councillor Sharp. I would anticipate a few small changes, but nothing significant at this point.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, the next one is doctor retention program be received, and further council direct staff to develop a doctor retention agreement based on the parameters outlined in report. And, okay.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councillor McHugh, second by Councillor O'Neill. Any comments or questions? Anyone? Councillor Armstrong?
I just have one. It says to qualify, you must be an existing doctor working in Quinte West. If they have less than 1,000 patients, where does that say? The doctors must have a load of at least 1,000 patients or be able to prove that they are doing work at the hospital. Is there an amount of time or just proof that they work there? Is there a requirement for?
Director Clazy?
I don't.
Councillor Armstrong,
Oh.
we don't have we don't have a specific requirement that lays out the number of hours, but basically we would take a look at that and use some judgment. If they're only working an hour or so at the hospital, then I'd expect that they'd be carrying a full patient load. If they're spending half their week at working at Quinte Health, then we would consider a significantly smaller patient load.
Any kind of number in mind? The minimum?
I think the intent would be to have not necessarily put a specific number on it, but we would look at that on a case-by-case basis, and as long as we're satisfied through the recruitment committee and myself that the patient level they're carrying is respectable enough compared to the other work we're doing, then we would approve it. My concern is if we put a specific number to it, then every time we look at one of these, we could have a different number. And that would be my concern.
Councillor Card, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. And certainly do support the recommendation. Speaking just broadly from the conversations at physician recruitment, I think that this speaks to kind of a larger shift in strategy on the committee, some of the resources solely from recruitment over toward retention. Based on a lot of the feedback that Paula and Lindsay are receiving from physicians in the community, I think that simply there aren't enough family physicians, and the administrative costs and burdens continue to go up. Their costs continue to go up, and the fee schedule and they are essentially businesses at the end of the day, in a sense, and but not able to change their price to reflect increases in input costs, and it's a very tough situation. But I think that this program, and speaking to the change with the Healthcare Connect to taking over an existing practice, I think that this is a great example of that program working immediately, because without this incentive, who knows how this would have played out. Perhaps those patients would have been orphaned without these funds being available to bring on to the other physician and support staff. So I think it shows the success of the program, and I certainly support the tweaking.
Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to thank staff and the committee for recommending this change, which I feel is listening to the doctors in our community to make it easier for them. And I, too, am in support of it.
Thank you. Councillor Stedall.
So my understanding, I'm just taking a look, so we're talking about $10,000 for 12 doctors, which is $120,000 a year, and this is money that we have not previously budgeted for. This is a new program. This will set a precedent. There are no other communities that have got a program similar to this. So, and we'd be kind of stepping out saying that we're now going to support family physicians specifically, and not talking about anybody else that's in the business, in the medical business. And so I guess with all of those things being said, so the $120,000 is a 0.25% increase in our tax levy, which is, again, coming into the middle of our cycle. We are just about to enter into talking about budgets in the next 6 weeks or so, and this has kind of been thrown at us with a number. I totally support family physicians. I'm very thankful for the work they've done. I've got family that's been in the medical, I have no issues with that at all. My concern is that we are entering into a realm that is not in the municipal act really of our nature. We need to support family physicians. I get that. This additional cost that nobody has ever supported before for physicians that are currently in our area is something that I feel is over and above what the city needs to do at this time. And I would like to ask that this be deferred until, for budgetary discussions. And we have the discussion at that time in alignment with other issues that may be coming forward and other requests that might be coming from other members of the community, including the medical community. So I would ask a deferral until budgets.
Got a request for deferral. I need a seconder for deferral. Seconder. Deferral lost. Go ahead, Councilor Kosovas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just at the committee level, it's actually good that we're not doing something that every other municipality is doing, because that way everything gets lost in the shuffle. Doctors are looking at, not to say a dollar value, but every time that someone wants to increase their intention of recruiting someone, their dollar figure always tends to go up. This way we're trying to look at the other side of the coin and retain our existing doctors. They've built roots in the community. Their patients are comfortable with them. Again, we can't just be going and doing the exact same thing as everyone else. So this is a new way to help keep the doctors that are already invested in our community.
Councilor Sharp, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and also to the Physician Recruitment Committee and our representatives. Thank you for your work. This looks like a retention program primarily. My concern too was that it's coming up in the middle of the year. We're taking reserves to pay. However, I understand we have to look at doing something, given that we're losing doctors. I would like to see, however, within this agreement and the outline that Mr. Clazy's prepared, a time limit, that it's annual or that we review in a few years, so it's clear what is the extent of the program. Because this is what the province should be doing. And we continue to deliver more services and programs because they are not. So we'll do our best, but I think it needs a time frame and not just open-ended from what I see here. Thank you.
I don't disagree with you. Every municipality in Ontario has put money into this program, and it's a competition is what it becomes. If the province stepped up and did what they should be doing, we wouldn't be where we're at. Director Clazy, anything more to add to that at this time?
I really don't have anything more to add. I don't have any issue if council wants to put like a 2 or 3 year, I'm going to say, time frame to review the program again. I think it'd probably be prudent to do that. And then it gives council the opportunity to take a look at it again and reevaluate. I'm going to say this is the success of the program over the next year or two. I think that would be a prudent thing to do.
Okay, so can you clarify the money issue and where we're going to get it? If we have to use it, where are we getting it from?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I mentioned in the report, we currently have $350,000 or $55,000 in our doctor recruitment reserve, which is what we would use to fund payments for this year, and then the money would need to be added into the 2025 operating budget on a move forward basis.
Thank you. Councilor Card.
Thank you, Your Worship. I did want to say again briefly to Councillor Sharp's point that certainly I think on the committee it is a very sobering reality, and I don't think that anybody feels good that we have to go to these lengths and spend more municipal dollars in this way for an admitted provincial responsibility. It is a very challenging environment. I feel very conflicted on it myself, but I think that the community at the end of the day, if we have the ability to retain the services of these physicians, that regardless of the fact that we're stepping into the provincial responsibilities, I just don't see how we can't do that. But it's not a good feeling that there's this creeping on. It seems like multiple issues every year. There's more and more. So.
Okay. Anyone else? Councilor Armstrong.
I think the program's good in the sense that it might help recruiting, okay? Because they see at the end of this 5 years, this other carrot. And I think that's important, that way they may not be leaving after 5. They say, oh, I'm going to stay for another 5 or hopefully forever. But I think that's going to help them. And I think it's good to be a leader, not a follower in this sense.
Thank you. Councillor McHugh.
Yeah, if you're looking for a timeline, I'd like to propose 3 years. Reason behind it is 2 more years left in this term, and it gives the next council a chance to see how it's working before they have to make a decision themselves going forward. So if that's the intent, we approve this with a 3-year term.
The end of council term? Is that what you're asking?
I'm asking for a 3-year term. That way it runs, this council deals for 2 years. Next council won't have to make a decision until a year in. It'll give them a chance to see how it's working. It just, less work on their plate from day one when they get in. That's all.
Councillor Stedall, got your hand up.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, I've got so I'm not sure how the 10,000 came to be. I don't know where that recommendation came and why it is at that number. And I guess I struggle with the fact that we're now paying, in addition, since the last budget, we've approved an additional $10,000 for nurse practitioners. We've also approved any doctor that takes on an additional 250 patients that they're going to get $25,000. The number that we had set up in the reserve and the amount that we set aside for recruitment of new doctors did not include either of those 2 additions, and now we're adding this additional $10,000. Again, I don't know where the 10,000 is coming from. We've had, these 12 doctors have been in our community for a number of years, and I've known even my family physician that retired a few years ago, she never received a dime out of any kind of physician recruitment or any retention scheme at all. And we've had some other doctors that have retired that have never had access to these types of funds. So again, we are setting a precedent, we're changing, and we're actually stepping more in and saying that we are now going to be prepared to do what the province should be looking after. It is their bailiwick, it's not ours. So I have a real issue and can't vote in favor of this. I agree with the idea that we put a limit on this, that we do it a test case, maybe for a couple of years. If we go beyond that, we are, pre-committing the next term of council. And I would also suggest that we only go with $5,000. I have no idea why the 10,000 is a number that's coming forward, but if we're going to move forward into this, which I strongly urge council to reconsider this, because it's not a municipal sphere. We are not in the...
We understand all that, so is there anything new?
Yeah, I'd suggest that we do put the limit on it to try it for 2 years, and that we not go any more than $5,000. And that, again, the deferral was lost, but I strongly urge council to really seriously think about what they're doing.
Thank you. Councillor Boyce.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to thoroughly support this issue. I think that being leaders in healthcare, like our municipality is doing with this, is tremendous. I was there back in 2006 when the other municipality did the doctor recruitment program and initialed the amount of money to retain doctors. It proved successful there. A lot of other municipalities, in fact, probably all municipalities are doing it. And sure enough, the province, we're taking over this issue, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to turn a blind eye while there are people without doctors out there, and anything we can do to get the orphan patients, the doctors or nurse practitioners that they need available, I'm going to support. So I thoroughly support this, and I applaud this actual incentive.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. CEO Clazy, anything more to add, or you're good? That's what I want to know.
Nothing else for me, but just to clarify that the motion we're voting on is for a 3-year time period and would be reviewed at that point. Is that the mover and seconders on board with that?
Okay. Mover and seconder on board with what okay. All right. All in favor? That's what I need to know. Carried. Thank you. Okay. Next is David, Clazy, you're on this one too. Do you want to go ahead and anything else to add to that on the?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the report's fairly straightforward. This is the report that Mrs. Calladine was speaking about previously when she was at the podium. So just for clarification, really we're just making a couple tweaks to this existing program. The original program was set up to take patients off of Healthcare Connect only, but you know, in consultation with Mrs. Calladine and some other doctors, there's been this situation where we have a doctor retiring and we have another physician who's willing to take those patients on is really the intent of what this program was all along. So we're really just looking to tweak some wording to allow that to happen. And for clarity, yes, we will make sure there's a caveat that if we have an existing doctor who is on the initial recruitment, the 5-year recruitment for the 100,000, they wouldn't qualify for this until they come off that.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Move the presentation.
Pardon?
I'll move the recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Second it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ellier and Councillor Sharp, moved and seconded. All in, oh, go ahead, question. Go ahead, Councillor Card. Councillor Card first, then I'll come back to you. Sorry.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I apologize. I think I amalgamated my comments on both reports in my first statement there, but strongly support this this tweak to the program. I think that this speaks to, of course, we made the Healthcare Connect incentive just recently, recent council action based on the success in Prince Edward County. And I think this speaks to what a great move that was, because we're tweaking the program to facilitate, is in the background and comments in this report. But without that action for us to create this incentive before, perhaps this would have been a story of a retiring physician with no funding to facilitate the hiring of a nurse practitioner. Maybe those patients would very likely end up on that Healthcare Connect list, waiting for many years if recruitment wasn't able to find a physician to come in to take over that practice and that patient list within a fairly short time period. So I think that this just shows the potential success of these programs. And I certainly support this. I think it's a very small technical tweak, and as was mentioned by Mrs. Calladine, that they could technically fulfill the way it was outlined before, just with a lot of administrative hurdles and wasted time and effort. So I certainly support this small tweak.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Sharp, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And this is the report that relates to the Healthcare Connect transitioning, doctors are going to take on patients, and thank you so much to all of them. 100% support this. That is equity. That makes sense. And I'm really thankful to the doctors that are taking on additional patients, and then we're able to accommodate that incentive. 100%. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Well, thank you very much. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much, and appreciate you coming, Mrs. Calladine and Paula, for being here. You can see we all want more doctors. We all want to keep the doctors we have. Yes, we do. We don't want to lose any. Yeah, but politics, we've got to make sure that what money we have, what budget we produce, is consistent with what we do. So, come on up, because they can't hear you. And come on, you can do it. Once more won't hurt.
I feel terrible taking any money from the community, but in this case, we're actually spending it on transitioning these patients. What is being done, though, to appeal to the province to put us into a position where we will be getting provincial funds? Like, obviously, you guys have, tried to appeal to the province for the underserviced area bonuses, but Frankfurt gets it. Frankfurt gets, I don't know, 100,000 or 80,000 per doctor that they
Frankfurt, if Frankfurt gets it, city of Quinte West, because Frankfurt's part of Quinte West.
Well, Frankfurt doctors get it, right? Or is it Sterling? What's one of them? Is
Well, let's
Sterling-
hope,
Is
I
Sterling
hope you're right.
somewhere really close?
David's gonna speak.
Is it Sterling? It's Sterling that gets it.
Yeah,
How
Sterling.
is
Sterling gets
getting
it,
this
yes.
And we're not. We're like the biggest military base in the country.
That's right.
Like, we should be, honestly, I think we actually should be advocating very aggressively for this, because I actually feel very terrible that our little community has to pay these costs to keep doctors, because they can't compete against a place like Sterling that's literally like down the street.
To be honest with you, there are not enough doctors to go around. That's the problem, and it's a competition, because we will, we're trying to be on top and be a leader, and somebody else close to us will do something that's above us.
It's amazing that what the council's, like the support we get. It's amazing. It's just, I feel that the province should be helping us. They just got a huge influx of money from the federal government. I don't know what's happened to that money, but, do we advocate for this? Do we advocate for change of status?
We advocate, and I can tell you that we have received funding to improve our ER.
Yeah,
And Quinte Healthcare also received funding to increase their base budget, which is part and parcel of what we are. So yes, we have received funding, but we're like everybody else. We're not receiving enough.
It's just that there's all these incentives, and I talked, about a year and a half ago, I spoke at the hospital about problems with being in an area like ours. So if you're in a big city, you get benefits. If you're in a small town, like very small rural town, you get benefits. But we're right in the middle, we get nothing. We're actually, the one group that receives nothing. And that's why this council is having to pay so much money. And I just think it's very unfair, and I think that as a community, we should probably protest this. We should talk about it. It's been bothering me it's been bothering a lot of people for a long time, and I mean, really, being a citizen in Quinte West means that we have to pay more to access health care than somebody in maybe a rural location who has all these provincial incentives, and their little municipality doesn't have to pay for it, because in the long run, we're all taxpayers, we're all gonna pay it. And I don't think it's fair. And I think that, I just don't know what can be done. I've advocated very aggressively at the provincial level. I've talked to the Ministry of Health about it. And here we are, our council's having to give away, I didn't know about this until today, that you're going to have to give more money to physicians just to stay here. Personally, I would have loved to have seen that, the stipulation that money go to patient care, or so that in a situation like our practice, we're hiring a nurse practitioner and being able to increase our practice load by, 800 patients. It would be nice maybe if that money could go to helping the physician take on more patients.
And we do have support for nurse practitioners.
No, I know, I just mean this extra money. I mean, if a physician takes on 100 patients,
Yes.
they get paid more,
Yes.
and then,
But you've also got more work, more paperwork and so
but
on.
if it helped hire on nurse practitioners and whatnot for that individual physician, instead of a physician being able to deal with 2,000 patients, maybe they could deal with 2,200 patients.
Listen, I'll be glad if you want to come in anytime.
I would, actually.
Well,
Because I'm seeing our model, which
Yeah.
was, so my husband's also an anesthesiologist,
Right.
which is, he can't quit being, because there aren't enough of them. We have, 900 patients in our practice, and we are able to, in our practice now, take another 800 patients by hiring a nurse practitioner almost full-time. That model might be feasible for a community, because I don't know if we're gonna ever get enough doctors. But hiring on a nurse practitioner that is hired by us is a different way of looking at things. Anyway,
Yeah. We understand where you're coming from, and
but I mean, I'm thank you and everything. I just feel badly that, you know,
well,
taking.
we're glad you're here. Any other comments? Anyone else? Anyone? Councillor Boyce.
Thank you, Your Worship. And there's been a lot of discussion on the amount of money it's costing the municipality to fund it, and I hear our reserves going down. I'd like to challenge our CAO and our senior staff. I know in another municipality, when the discussion on the money came forward, we looked at different sustainable funding from different groups, and that municipality had said, okay, we'll take the dividends from Viridian and use it towards every year we'd use it towards the doctor recruitment plan. And it seemed more palatable and easier to swallow for the council. I'd like to see our senior staff or anyone come up with ideas where we could find money that could be sustainable every single year, whether it's some type of fees or where have you, so that when we put money into the doctor recruitment fund, it's not like it just feels a lot better, to be honest with you, when we're looking at that. And I'm wondering if there's anything in the development fee agenda that would, I know for fire protection, when you know, it's all part of development fees. Is there anything about recruitment of doctors that we could, per se, use some of the development fees? As we get more people, we definitely need more doctors. Is there anything in the development fees that we could take out of every year?
Director Denouden, do you want to respond to that? You've got money in your pocket, or are we going to put in speed cameras like they have in other areas, and you pay regardless if you're one or two? No, go ahead.
Through Maria, when it comes to development charges, they're restrictive on the categories you can generate for, and I'm quite confident this is not one of the categories we can just add and generate revenue from. So we'd be looking at other sources of revenue or current sources of revenue to fund this, and I guess we're all ears, and we'll be on the lookout for other sources of revenue.
Thank you.
If there was one type of source that maybe we could see at some point in time, a report coming back giving us possible suggestions, so that the money we would know would be put in every year, and it's not as hard to swallow, I'll tell you.
Thank you. Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Your Worship. And very briefly, I know we could talk about this all night, but I just wanted to say from my perspective, certainly at the AMO Roma delegations, anytime we get the chance to speak to the province, certainly advocating very strongly on this issue. I feel like it's the Ministry of Health certainly a main focus. The issues are so deep-seated too that I come in contact with maybe show around town or different events with some of the medical students, and it's to the point where even practicing family doctors will giving feedback on the environment that they're operating in, and it's dispiriting to hear, but a lot of the students are not interested in going into family medicine because of the future that looks like, and some of these financial constraints and issues that they're dealing with and practicing medicine that way versus a specialty. So very deep-seated issues that we're left to treat the symptoms of, unfortunately, and the only way we can do that is with dollars.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All in favor of that? Carried. Thank you. All right. The next I've got is a update. Louis Smith, Resolute Deputy Clerk and Accessibility Coordinator regarding easement 869 Trenton Frankfurt Road be received, and that the City of Quinte West enter into an easement in gross agreement with 100125703 Ontario Incorporated to recognize the existing overhead piping infrastructure extended across Trenton Frankfurt Road to the satisfaction of the city. Moved by Councillor McHugh, seconded by Councillor Armstrong. Comments or questions? All in favor? Okay, thank you. Carried. All right, so then, thanks, Louise. One more regarding Quinte West Accessibility Awards. Then the council supports the creation of annual accessibility awards to recognize the significant contribution that a person, group, or organization within the city of Quinte West has made towards improving accessibility for all residents in Quinte West. And further, that the award presentations be held annually in conjunction with the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, which is observed annually on December the 3rd. Okay. All in favor? I guess that's my question. Or comment? I
Sorry,
got a
need a
mover and a seconder.
mover and a seconder, Mr. Mayor.
Moved by Councillor McHugh, seconded by Councillor Allier. Okay. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Sorry, did I miss somebody? Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was just going to say, looks like a wonderful program, and as a matter of fact, a similar environmental sustainability presentation will be coming to the next Environmental Stewardship Committee, and very similar. I love that we're recognizing people in the community supporting these endeavors. It's great.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay. Public Works, minutes of the Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting held on July the 4th be approved. Moved and seconded for that one. Councillor McHugh, Councillor Kutsovas. Comments or questions? Go ahead, Councillor Sharp, comment, or you? No?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I was just noting that Councillor Freeman was just.
Sorry, I missed her.
She's frozen.
You're frozen for some reason. Oh.
Councillor Freeman want to speak?
We're losing you.
And there was a group including Councillor Freeman.
What'd she?
No, that's Councillor Freeman. She has a
Councillor Freeman, anything to add? No? You're good? Okay. So I guess I'm all in favor then, right? Carried, thank you. Okay. Next one is regarding from Matt Tracy, Manager, Water Wastewater Service, regarding Trojan Technologies sole source supplier to be received, and that Trojan Technologies sole source report be approved. Moving a seconder for that. Councillor Allier moves, seconded by
Councillor Boyce.
Councillor Boyce. Okay. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Carried, thank you. And that this is again from Matt Tracy, Manager of Water and Wastewater Services, regarding Xylem Canada sole source supplier be received, and that Xylem Canada sole source report be approved. Moving to a seconder for this one. Councillor Reid moved, seconded by Councillor Stedall. Any comments or questions? Comments or questions? All in favor? Thank you, carried. Another one, Matt Tracy, Manager of Water Wastewater Services, regarding WSP Canada Incorporated single source contract to be received, and that the WSP Canada Incorporated single source report be approved. Need a move in a second. Councillor McHugh, Councillor Armstrong, comments or questions? I'm going to, can you tell us what's happening here, Director Angela? Is there something I'm missing, or are we not getting enough competition or other businesses, or what's going on?
Thank you, Your Worship. Typically before, we used to provide an annual report to council outlining a number of these single source procurements that we need to do to make sure we're compliant in our water wastewater systems, in parks and in roads as well. We haven't done that in a year or so, so as these are coming up and the value of them, we thought in consultation with our finance department that we need to bring these single source reports forward for council endorsement, because they're over that threshold that staff can actually authorize throughout the year.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor of that last report? Carried, thank you. Okay, Matt, council proclaimed September 14, 21, 24 as Legion Week in the city of Quinte West, and further that Legion flag be raised at City Hall and the Cenotaph during Legion Week. And I think it's there already. So Moved by Councillor O'Neill, Councillor McHugh and Councillor O'Neill. Thank you. Any comments or questions on this one? Councillor O'Neill.
We're in Legion Week right now, actually.
Yes, we are. That's great. And I appreciate all the work the Legion does for so many, from public speaking to people like us, our younger generation, right? Thanks for all the work they do. It's great. Okay, do I need an all in favor on that one? All in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, the next one is that September 24th, this is information submission proclamation, Paige Cater, Events and Awareness Coordinator, Mito Canada Foundation, requesting council proclaim September 21st, 24 as World Mitochondrial Disease Day in the city, and that council proclaims September 21st, September 24, as the World Mitochondrial Disease Day in the city of Quinte West, and further that the Quinte West sign and Veterans Skyway Bridge be illuminated in the color green on September 21st. Okay, all in favor of that? Did I get a, pardon?
Need mover and a seconder, right?
Okay, didn't get a mover and a seconder. Okay, need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Boyce moved, seconded by Councillor Card. Sorry, I could have got, okay, I got all kinds. Councillor Freeman, Councillor Card. All right, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, next one is, council proclaimed the week of September 23rd, 29 as Rail Safety Week in the city of Quinte West. Moved by Councillor Freeman. Moved by Councillor Freeman. Seconded by, I need a seconder. Who is it? Councillor Reid. Thank you. Okay. Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? No?
Keep it on track.
I don't want to say it.
Keep it on track.
Keep it on track. That's a
Whistles.
Yeah, whistles, yeah, I know. Anyways, all in favor? Thank you. Thank you. This one here is Daniel Salvatore, Senior Management, Incident Management and Safety, requesting council proclaim the week of September, sorry, I just did that one, didn't I?
October 25th, isn't it right here? D.
D,
D.
right, okay.
And yours.
This one here, proclamation submission received from Jesse Udenberg, Executive Director, Highland Shores Children's Aid, requesting council proclaim October 25th, 24 as Dress Purple Day in the city of Quinte West. And the council proclaim, okay, October 25th as Dress Purple Day in the city of Quinte West, and further that Quinte West sign and the Veterans Skyway Bridge be illuminated in the color purple on October 25th. Moved by Councillor McKay, seconded by Councillor Card. Any more, okay, any questions or comments? Questions or comments? We like purple. All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay. All right. So I've got correspondence, printed information, and non-printed. Any comments or questions on any of that? Councillor McHugh.
Very pleased to see the response to the resolution that we put forward for Canada's Community Building Fund. That I think half my council package is full of responses. All in favor? Thank you.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. Yes. Anyone else? Anyone else? No? Okay. So we got printed and non-printed. We got to move.
Councillor Stedall.
Comment? Councillor Freeman? No?
I
Go ahead.
appreciate it. Sorry, thank you, Your Worship. I appreciate the fact that we are getting circulation on that. I have been speaking with some of the staff with the community, with AMO that deals with this contract. No traction yet, so hopefully we continue to get more municipalities providing that input. So, yeah, it is nice to see that we're not the only ones that need this additional money for our infrastructure.
No, that's the one thing we learned at AMO. Everybody's in the same boat, and it's sinking.
It's sinking.
Sinking. That's what's happening. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, then I'm at non-printed information, printed correspondence item. Oh, sorry, Councillor Sharp, go ahead. Go ahead.
She's frozen.
Yeah, she's solid. She's solid.
Ask her now. She's live now.
Okay. Anything else, Councillor Sharp? You're moving now. You have been frozen.
No, she's good, she's good.
Okay. All right, so we got the printed correspondence, Councilor.
I'm sorry. I'm thawed out now.
Okay. Okay, the printed correspondence, item 13-1 AD for Councilor to be received and filed. So that's all in that. Need a move and a seconder. Don't I? Councilor Allier moves, seconded by Councilor Katsoulis. Thank you. Any questions or all in favor? Thank you, okay. Now I'm under new business. Anything? Notice of motion? Any notice of motion? No.
Business?
Anything? Okay. On new business? Anything under new business? Counselor Stedall and CO Clazy, you're at something to do with finances. Got any money for us? Even $1 we'd take it. We'll take $1, you know. Are you learning, what are you learning? Are you learning what we already know? Thank you, I'm glad you are, because we're, as I said, both the province and the federal government have got to step up and help us. Yes, they do. They both do.
How to do better budgets and how to do what's in the background of development charges. We've got staff here from some of the different provincial ministries talking to us about some changes that are taking place. Like, there's lots of information here. And there's lots of vendors, lots of people want to invest their money as well. So it's great. There's 400 delegates here for that NFOA, and we are meeting lots of colleagues that are in the same boat, having the same issues with costs for things that are not in our wheelhouse, as well as for things like infrastructure. So we're not alone, and it sometimes helps. Some of them have really good information that David and I'll bring back for sure.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you're both there. I appreciate that very much. It's much easier to stay home. I know it is. I know it is. But yes, there is certainly a certain amount of what you'd say feeling good and feeling good about what's going on when you know that others are putting forth the same effort that we are to let the federal and provincial government know that we need support. And doctors and healthcare and you name it, infrastructure. They want us to build houses, but we got to spend 50, 60 million on our waste treatment plant. Yes, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, I'm at bylaws. Bylaws, be read a first and second time, and so I need a mover and a seconder for bylaws, please. Councillor Card, Councillor McHugh. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you. Okay. Then we'll sign them, and nothing under notice of motion, and okay. So I think we need the part we all look forward to getting to, a confirmation bylaw. Moved by Councillor McHugh, seconded by Councillor Elliott. All in favor? Thank you. Pick two for adjournment, and thank you very much. We've done well. 10 to 6. That's great.
Councillor Reid.
Councillor Reid, sorry.
Look for the cheese mules be coming your way soon. She knows what that means. She knows what.
It's got mold on it, though. Be careful.
Thank you.